कान ले सुने का कुराहरुलाय दूरी बाट प्रचार गर्ने अध्यारोमा भएका कुराहरुलाई उज्यालोमा प्रकट गर्ने अद्भुत शक्ति र आश्चर्य कर्मलाई विद्युतीय तारबाट सम्प्रेषण गर्ने यो हो आशिषका पलहरू यो हो आशिषका पलहरू.
Hi Mark, good morning.
Morning to you.
How are you doing, sir?
Doing pretty well. How about you?
I'm good too. So Mark, today we are going to intake the interview for the program, the moment of blessing. In Nepali, it is said that Ashiska Polaru. So you are welcome in our program.
Yes, appreciate it.
Okay, so Mark, could you please introduce yourself to our audience?
Yep, my name is Mark Ricci. I'm currently a professor here at Monroe Community College teaching the media courses and the speech communication courses.
Okay, Mark, where is your born place and where you were born? And could you tell to our friends about yourself?
Yeah, so I was born in Rochester, but raised in the southern tier of New York State, a small town called Canisteo. My parents moved us down there when I was about 4, and then I came back to school at SUNY Brockport in college and went to school to be a sports writer, and ultimately came back to school to get my master's and realized I love to teach.
Okay, so where did you finish your high school from?
High school was in the town of Canisteo, so it's a small rural town near the Pennsylvania border.
Okay, so what was your aim while you were as a child?
As a child, I was a little bit scatterbrained. I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do. I knew I loved sports and I knew I was a good writer. So when I came to college, I kind of trended towards that and decided that that was my aim, that I wanted to write about sports. And then, things changed as I got a little bit older and realized that I wanted to, or I had a passion for teaching.
Okay. So, Mark, what is your major subject?
In college?
Yes.
In college, I majored in journalism with a concentration in sports management. Did kind of crafted my own minor from it because they didn't have a sports journalism program at Brockport. And then I went and was a sports writer for a couple years. And then I decided to come back to school and get my graduate degree in communication. And as I was there, I was given the opportunity to teach a class in public speaking, which in turn, like I said, made me realize my passion for teaching.
Okay, so from when you are teaching here in MCC College?
When did I start?
Yeah.
I started in August of 2009 as an adjunct, so a part-time professor here. And then in 2013, I was given a full-time job, and that's where I've been ever since.
Okay, so could you please share the excitement the first day you lecture in a class?
Yeah, it was, so I technically was lecturing in a class prior to 2009 because I was a graduate assistant. And so I was given the opportunity to teach one public speaking class at Brockport. And there was kind of some nervous excitement because I was basically the same age as many of the students. But when I was given a part-time job here at MCC as well as at Brockport in 2009 as an adjunct, it was nice to kind of fully take over my classroom and then be the professor and have that level of engagement. So it was exciting, exhilarating, somewhat nerve-wracking, but it worked out pretty well.
Very interesting, interesting. So now, how many colleges you are teaching?
Currently, I mostly only teach at MCC, but from 2009 to 2013, I taught at MCC, St. John Fisher, and Brockport, and then occasionally over the last 7 or 8 years, I picked up a course or two at Brockport, but for the most part, I'm teaching here at MCC.
Okay, so you are mostly enjoying teaching in MCC college, right?
I am. Definitely.
Oh, very good, very good. So, Mark, it is very glad to hear you that you are teaching in MCC from 2009, and so you are still teaching some of the college too, right?
Yeah, for the most part, here at MCC, I teach the comm courses, so the media courses, and the speech communication ones, so interpersonal, public speaking, stuff like that.
Okay, so especially you are assistant professor in the media. So could you please explain to our audience about the media literacy?
Yeah, so I think one of the chief things that we try to relay, or at least I try to relay to my students, is that the fact of the matter is we consume media every day, pretty much every waking hour, but we're never fully, at least in America, fully trained how to read it, how to understand it, how to comprehend it. And so I think one of the biggest things that I try to bestow to students is this ability to think critically about the material, the media, the articles you read, the podcasts you listen to, the television you watch, and the influence it has over you and other people, and why your viewpoints are what they are. And they get that in a number of different classes here, but I think it's really important for anybody who consumes media, which is pretty much anybody on the planet.
Okay, thank you so much. And Mark, could you please define what is the media exactly?
So when we use the term media, we're referring to any source that gets information out there, right? So mass media is material like starting with print, like books, newspapers, magazines, all the way through some of the audio ones and radio and music, and then moving our way to television, the electronic one, television, movies, video games, social media. Nowadays, we have all sorts of different media outlets that get information out there. So we cover all of those sources in the multitude of classes we offer here.
Okay, thank you so much. So on the context of America, so how long it has been the media, that social media has been developed?
That has been what, sorry?
So how long it has been the development of social media here in the US?
So social media, kind of began in the early 2000s. It's become more of a focus post 2010, I think, where now they are using things like algorithms and calculation systems to really influence our viewpoints, our consumption habits, and our general lifestyles. And so I think it's become more of a prevalent part of society post 2010. But Facebook began in 2004, and then MySpace a little bit before that.
Okay, thank you so much. Mark, what is the relationship between the paper media, that means that soft paper media, and the digital social media? What is the difference? What are the interrelationship between them?
So it's more about the general reach, I guess, of the media itself. And so when we're talking about print media, they are using a lot of the different apparatuses and parameters that social media have to reach people nowadays, but the ability and the amount of time people spend on social media and digital media, it's amplified compared to some of the traditional ones.
Okay, so my next question is that, so what are the factors of the media, that means what are the benefits of the media, and what are the hindrances of the media you see or you find?
I think, it benefits us based on accessibility, convenience, portability. We can really get information almost anywhere in a moment, in a notice, in seconds, basically, right? And so that's great. Where it hinders us or becomes a detractor in that we can fall victim to fake news or to manipulation that we don't know that's happening to us, right? Because of the amount of media we consume. And so it's a double-edged sword. It's something that we have to use for even jobs and or careers. And it's really beneficial in the accessibility and the amount of knowledge and information. But it becomes a deterrent in that we start to just look for viewpoints and information that reinforces a previously held belief. And that can become problematic in the long run.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Now we take the short break.
Okay.
यो हो आशीष का पलहरू यो हो आशीष का पलहरू.
Okay, welcome back again after the short break. So, Mark, we will talk. We will interact, and we will talk some of the entertaining issues. So, since I met you, Mark, I was really impressed by you. So your personality is so powerful and power pack up. So this I'm not exactly exaggerating, but I'm sharing my some views, my some experience truly. So you seem always energetic and handsome. Could you tell me that what is the mystery that you always keeping fit and fine?
So yeah, I think I try to bring enthusiasm to the classroom. I think that's important in life, that we are passionate about, what we're speaking about. And so when it comes to energy and just kind of general outlook, I mean, I haven't felt as energetic since kids, but I do, since having my, the two little kiddos that I have, I do try to be energetic in the classroom because I do believe that brings up the conducive nature and the environment in the classroom. So I appreciate that is something that you've felt in the class, Krish.
Okay, thank you so much, Mark. And could you tell to our audience that how are you taking care of your personal health, your personal hygiene?
Yeah, so in general, I don't work out as much as I used to. I do play basketball on the weekends and, try to pick up a workout here or there. I mean, I'm chasing my kids around anyways, and so they do a lot of sports. So from that standpoint, when it comes to what I eat, I just generally don't have probably the best diet in the world, but I try to, watch the calorie intake if I can. General hygiene, it's just a lot of the stuff, a lot of the clothes that I wear and stuff like that, I can probably, credit my wife with that. She makes those choices more than I do. But other than that, you see, I am what you see here.
Okay. So do you prefer mostly homemade food or the ready-made food?
So I like to cook. I come from a strong Italian background. Both my grandmothers and my mother taught me how to do a lot of cooking. So I do a lot of the cooking for my house. And although we do probably get out once a week as a family to go eat at a restaurant, but for the most part we make homemade stuff.
Okay, so you cook food yourself?
Yes.
So you enjoy food yourself, then you make so delicious and tasty to your family member, right?
Yes, yeah, definitely.
Okay.
We make homemade stuff.
Okay, thank you so much. So could you tell to our audience that how can people be fit and fine mentally, physically, and spiritually?
I think for me, some of the best advice I would give is just moments of reflection. We talk about the media deprivation in the class. Just being able to take some time to disconnect from what's happening and just reflect, whether that's meditation or, taking a short nap or just kind of removing, turning off your brain, I think is the best way, both physically, mentally, and emotionally, that I'm able to kind of readjust, reflect, and then move forward.
Okay, good. Thank you so much. So, Mark, as a guardian in your home, you are so precious and important person. You are father and you are husband. So, could you please share some of the tips to our audience that how can how can person be the successful father as well as the successful husband in a family?
So I think it's just about adapting, juggling, wearing a bunch of hats, right? And so it's just being your best self in all those different situations. And it doesn't mean necessarily that I don't make mistakes. I make many of those. But learning from those mistakes, being able to have those conversations with your family, and moving forward and just trying to be your best self every day, helping others, just having a good set of ethics to work off of has been very fruitful for me.
Okay, so how do you manage some of the special time to roaming with your family outside of home?
So we try to do things as a family, multiple times throughout the week, daily, and being a professor does allow me more time at home, which is great. And my wife's job as well, she gets to work a couple days at home, and so we've been able to spend a lot of time with our kids, but we also try to spend time as a full family unit, whether it's going out, playing outside, doing things that aren't necessarily all media related, and then trying to come back in and make sure that we're not isolated within the household.
Okay, thank you so much. So, Mark, you are belong to media. So, as a media professor, so how you are keeping balance to communicate with your family, especially with your wife and your children? How do you manage the time?
So I think one of the things that the job grants me is more time at home, so that does help with time management. And when it comes to communication, it's a skill that I've worked on throughout all my academic career. So it's a thing that whether it be conflict or argument or things like that, we're able to kind of handle pretty well. Parenting's a different animal, it's something that I've had to learn on the fly. But I'm definitely not a perfect dad or father, but I do my best, right? And I think that's all you can ask.
Okay, thank you so much. So I would like to change some of the other issues. So I want to ask you, so that our interview will be fruitful and it will be benefit for all the viewers. So you are from Rochester, New York. So how many countries have you visited before?
How many countries? I actually haven't visited too many. I probably only visited 3. My grandmother had money put aside for us to go to Europe, but unfortunately we used it for my wedding because we didn't have a lot of money at the time. So I haven't been able to visit, but eventually, later in life, I will be visiting and traveling to other countries.
Okay, so I would like to ask some of the funny question or something. It is entertaining questions. So our very quick question too, like a quiz.
Mm-hmm.
So could you tell me that which is the highest mountain peak in the world?
Mountain peak in the world? It's Mount Everest, right? Is that the biggest one?
So do you know where the Mount Everest is situated?
Where specifically it's in the Himalayas. I don't know exactly which country it's in off.
Okay, no problem. This is in Nepal.
Is it?
So
perfect.
yeah, I myself from Nepal. So
Yeah.
I have been here in Rochester since 5 years. Okay, thank you so much. And so I would like to encourage you to visit the mountaining country Nepal. It is a very beautiful, naturally beautiful, no any artificial. Okay, thank you so much. And what are your hobbies in your life?
I like to play basketball, play golf, those help to kind of keep me active. I also am really involved in fantasy sports. I love to play fantasy football. It's where you get to pick your own team and see how they perform. And so I think those are some of the general areas. A lot of my interests have to do with sports because obviously that was one of my first passions.
So do you have some interest in music?
Oh, I do love music. Yes, I love all kinds of music. Being a media enthusiast, and so constantly have music blaring throughout the house. Depending on what the task that I'm doing is a different type of genre.
So sometime do you sing song in a home?
Oh yeah, I don't have a problem singing. I don't have a great singing voice, but I'll sing amongst myself and my family.
So you are good listener song and music song, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, thank you so much. Now we take a short break. Okay, after a short break, welcome back again. So Mark, we are really enjoying interacting each other. So it is a really very beneficial and very meaningful time with you. I'm really enjoying with you. So Mark, so I want to just talk about some career issue. So many people, they are struggling, and they are working, but not most of the people, they achieve their goal and they reach out to the destination. So could you tell me that how can people be successful in their life?
So I think ultimately it comes down to your support system. You not only have to have an inner confidence or willingness to put in the effort, but also being willing to use your support system to help you out throughout that. And, I'm a big component of therapy, or at least having somebody you can talk to when you're down, or having, thoughts that, you don't think you're going to succeed. A lot has to do with, my wife studied psychology in school. So a lot has to do with the brain, has to do with, your own self-confidence. And if you believe you can do it, it'll happen. If you believe you can't, it'll create that self-fulfilling prophecy where you won't. And so I think the support system and having that inner confidence are the two key things there.
Oh, good. So you highlighted two things, right?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. And in the same way, Mark, here in the United States of America, so in each year, more than 40,000 people, they are suiciding. They are committing suicide. And this is a very sad news. So in America, you already told to our audience and viewers that after 2010, social media is really highly developed in America. So the people, they are getting more information, they notice information, and everything informative issues they want for, they are achieving. So in your personal perspective or your experience, why the large number of the people here in US committing suicide?
So I unfortunately think that although media can play a really positive, vital role in your life, it can also do the opposite. And a lot of people consuming social media and being maybe even cyberbullied, or a number of different things that come up, definitely plays a role in the increase in suicide, or the attempted suicide rate that you refer to. So to me, I think the best thing to do there is you still have to be, as a parent, open to having a conversation with your loved ones as much as you possibly can, because if they're only kind of being consuming media alone, and even though it is an experience that is supposed to be liberating, it also can be socially isolating. And if you're only seeing yourself through the filter lens that is social media, it can amplify the problems that lead to suicide. So I think that's something that we have to be cognizant of when we move forward as parents, as adults, and even as kids. Definitely.
So what can be the possible solution to control the suiciding case?
It's a tough question, Christian, as a whole, because I think there isn't an easy answer to control, right? I'm not saying that you shouldn't censor people from media, because that can make it even worse. But it is something to where, because a lot of suicide happens with teens and young adults. So as those people of that age range are consuming that particular media, having conversation, being willing to talk, trying to keep pushing and being persistent, and really showing that you are that support system for them throughout the way can hopefully alleviate some of those concerns.
Okay, so thank you so much for your brief answer. Thank you so much. And So you want? Do you agree that the one of the factor of the media, it is making people isolated? Do you agree?
It can definitely create a situation
yeah.
of social isolation.
Yeah. So to be more isolation from the community, from the society, from the family attachment, this is not good, right?
No.
So how can the people keep balance for these issues? How can they can stay out of this crisis?
I think it's really about, every once in a while disconnecting from some of the media, spending time with loved ones, not living your life through a screen. Although I'm a media enthusiast, I'm also a media realist, right? And so when it comes to that, I think we have to be aware of the impact that media have on us, and then be able to somewhat control that moving forward.
Okay, thank you so much. So thank you so much for your more informative answer. And Mark, now we are about to coming to the end of the program. So what kinds of unforgettable your memory or something memorandum, some of the memorable moment do we have?
I think the ones that I would turn to, and I don't have any one in particular that I would pinpoint for your program, but I think the most memorable times in my profession are when I have students come back afterwards and they've been successful, and they credit some small thing we did in class, right? That kind of led them down the pathway to their successful moment. And it's always, I think the most gratifying thing about being a teacher is you play that small little role in their life, and they don't forget that moving forward. And they're one of 200 students in the semester, but each time I have one of those moments, it's really gratifying as a teacher.
Okay, thank you so much, and it is really blessing moment. Mark, at lastly, I just want to ask you, so do you believe in divinity?
In divinity?
Divinity. So do you believe in God?
Yes.
Is there God exist?
Yeah, so I grew up. I grew up Catholic, and so I have a strong belief in an entity that is God. Now, from that standpoint, I don't necessarily believe everything in the Catholic Church. I've kind of delved in a lot of different religions, and I have my own, what I call my own relationship with God, and it's different than any one religion, and it's just kind of an own personal belief, because it's hard for me as a analytical, rational person to understand how we could all be created without some sort of entity. And so that's kind of where I stand. It's an interesting area, and it's a rant that goes well beyond this program, probably.
So could you please share the testimony of your salvation in a very short?
I don't know that I could do that in a very short way, Krish. It's just, I think ultimately my belief in God is what also guides my kind of ethical approach to life, and that's kind of being a good person, helping people out. I think all of that is something that I want to bestow on my children, and then they can develop their own faith base as they get a little bit older.
So that means God is good all the time. All the time, God is good. Do you agree?
Yes, I believe from that standpoint, I would agree there.
So you mean that every person, they need the God assistance, right?
I believe everybody should have an internal kind of faith in some eternal being that is always good, because I think that's where some of our innate instincts come from.
Okay, what do you want to tell our audience? What do you special message you want to hand out them?
I think the last thing I would say is just from my standpoint, my profession, is just be completely aware and cognizant of what you consume and why you consume it, and how it changes your viewpoints moving forward, and then you'll be a better, more media literate citizen moving forward.
Thank you for your very important time with me.